Good morning, friends.
Hi, thank you. This is James and Kerouacs Cruising. And we started a book club and we did all of the reviews for our first book club. And Kara now has strung them along. And so you guys, we can have an episode about it.
Yeah, so this is essentially a compilation of all of our book club meetings. I'm a little bit edited because otherwise it would be like a week and a half or old. Hi, Josie. What I wanted to share with you guys is, first of all, June 29th, we're having our next book club meeting, and it's going to feature our book that we're co-authors in, Together We Rise. We really want you guys involved in that, like everybody. Like, please join the book club. So we'll have the links in the book club there. Our book comes out on June 24th. And it's really going to be a cool journey. I mean, how often do you get to be in a book club with authors of a book? So, of the book that you're clubbing, we definitely get down and dirty when we're doing this book club. We really want it to be a raw, authentic place, and we want these books to spark conversation, real deep conversation. We hope that as you watch this episode, that you see that we really do talk about the deeper things, and we get raw. And whether we agree or don't disagree, we still, it's an open conversation to spark different mind patterns, different ways of thinking. So I really hope that this inspires you and that you join our book club so that you can be even more inspired.
I think that it's going to be awesome. The book club is going to be awesome. Our book, reading it, is going to be, you guys are going to be just blown away by some of the people that are in the book, the other authors. It's been incredible. So hopefully you get on the call. One of the things, we just finished Jack Kerouac on the road.
Oh, yeah.
I got another Jack Kerouac book because, man, I just been liking the stories, the action-packed traveling.
So I asked Grok, actually. So James just went through his cancer treatments, and while he was going to be doing radiation, he wanted a book to read because he was going to be bored. And so I asked Grok. James wanted an adventure-oriented book from about mid-century. He liked On the Road. He read, what was it, the Electric Kool-Aid Acid Test back in the day. So I wanted a book along those lines, and this was Grok's actual top recommendation. So Dharma Bums
by Jack Kerouac.
James has almost finished it. He has not been able to put it down.
Yeah, I got like 40 pages left. So it's, well, get that book. I like it better than On the Road, and I can't wait to read it. We're not reading it in our next book because we're doing our book, Together We Rise. But the book after that, maybe we'll do Dharma Bums.
We'll see. You're going to have to convince me. I'm like, I already have some books lined up. We'll see.
Well,
Unless other people have something.
I do want to do, some self-help books.
Yeah.
But these, they're inspiring books, the action and just the way he details the traveling and the meeting up with people and the different ways he travels around this country. It's been cool. And Dharma Bums gets into more of the what did you say earlier?
So James had actually expected, he just felt that that's the way that it should be, that Kerouac's books get more philosophical as they go on. And I haven't gotten into this book yet. I'm waiting for him to finish it before I can get my hands on it. But he said this one is
a lot of Buddhism and stuff. Just really good. I don't even want to spoil it. You got to get that book and read it. It is not a huge book to read, and it keeps you going. It keeps you going. It keeps you wanting to read the next chapter.
All right, you guys.
So thanks. I hope
we'll let you get into it. Let's go with the show on the road.
All right. Thank you so much. Bye.
Hi, friends. This is James and Cara, and we are Kerouacs Cruising.
We are taking you on a journey, traveling the country with our dogs and finding remote places where the dog
and us
can roam free and play while we discuss life's growths, beauty, and some struggles along the way.
We recommend pairing our episodes with our blog at kerouacscruising.com, where we organize accurate information in an easy-to-follow format, removing all of the conversational goodies.
The link for this episode's blog post is in the show notes.
We encourage you to join the conversation by commenting where you listen, engaging with us on Facebook or Instagram at Kerouacs Cruising, or email us at join@kerouacscruising.com.
In the meantime, thanks for tuning in. Sit back and enjoy the journey.
Good morning, friends.
Thank you for joining Kerouacs Cruising. And this is James and Karen. We're excited to bring you Jack Kerouac on the road. When we first talked about it, we were talking about doing motivational books or growth books. But this is a motivational book and a growth book for us because we're trying to live our life on the road. And man, it's crazy to me when I read this book and what life was like. This is 1947. Man, it's just crazy because there was no internet or phone or anything like that. And what I think that was the most interesting to me is how people stayed connected through the process of living life. So when you read this book, they sent a lot of letters back and forth. Like, people didn't have phones in their house. So Jack Kerouac in the book, his name is Sal, and he's living with his aunt, I think New Jersey or whatever. Or is it New Jersey?
Yeah, it was New Jersey.
New Jersey. And he's going to Columbia University off and on, but not really steady in school. But he's staying connected with a lot of people all the way from the East Coast all the way to San Francisco by writing letters to people and phone calls. And he doesn't have a phone. He lives above a store by the sounds of it, or a drugstore maybe. And the guy yells to him when they have a phone call and they have to run down to the store to get the phone call. So his first journey, right, he's trying to go to San Francisco and he's leaving New Jersey. And it's kind of cool because he's hitchhiking out of town to pick up a bus. And then he's going to take a bus, and his first stop that he plans on visiting people is in Denver.
Mm-hmm.
And he starts getting on the road, and he gets detoured right away because of weather, if I'm remembering right.
So he looks at a map, because again, there's no Google to tell you the best way to do this.
It's cool.
So he looks at a map and looks at what he thinks is the most direct route across the country. And so he ends up going north at close to 100 miles by the sounds of it, and trying to hitchhike along the Route 6 at the time.
Yep.
To go through Chicago and then make his way towards Denver, Colorado. And when he's up there in the pouring rain, sopping wet, he ends up coming across somebody who was like, oh, this isn't the way you want to go. You want to go back to New York and then take this route over to. So he ends up having to change his whole thing. So he feels like he fails from the beginning, and he's like, what the hell am I doing? What was I thinking?
First trip across country.
Yes, this is his first time leaving family and going on doing his own thing. He'd been dreaming about it for years. It's a really cool, was it a bus? Is that how he first got to Chicago? He ended up taking a bus from New York to Chicago. And then from Chicago, he hitchhiked all the way from Chicago. He spent a night in Chicago, or 2 nights in Chicago.
Yep.
And really just partying, passing out in lawns. I don't even think he got a hotel room in Chicago.
Hey, I think he did get maybe.
YMCA. He stayed at the YMCA. So like no plans, like just winging it. And
kind of like we're living life right here, right now.
Yeah.
In the present moment. So the other thing that was crazy is, so he's starting this journey from pretty much New York, New Jersey to San Francisco. $50. That's what he
that's what he left.
$50. He smokes cigarettes, drinks, and he's got to eat, and he's got to buy bus ticket, and he's getting hotels.
Yeah.
So the cool thing is, so he's utilizing truckers, which I've done a little bit of hitchhiking in my day, and that you utilize anybody you can to get a ride. So he's going to truck stops and he's getting rides, and long rides, hundreds of miles with truckers. And he talks about the truckers, talking about their stories.
Yeah.
So he's picking up a lot of information. So then he gets to Denver, and all he's got is a phone number to his friend.
Yeah.
And he calls up his friend and immediately gets invited over, and pretty much almost out of money. He's got $18 or something left. Doesn't care, but gets a free meal right as soon as he gets to these people's house. And I just think it's amazing how I get scared to travel. Like, I want to have a bunch of money just in case there's a issue. We don't have no money. He's getting on the road and he doesn't care if he's got to walk, take a bus, jump on a train, or a hitchhike. So all that stuff, I get scared to travel, but reading this book is going to make it so I can travel and just wing it. Just say, this is what I want to do. Now, he's not going to national parks. He's going to big cities. So
Well,
it's
he's young. He's at college age through here. So he's partying, he's wanting the experience, he's
yeah.
looking for girls. He really is, when you kind of read between the lines almost, he literally is doing this adventure not only because he's wanderlust himself, he wants to experience and see all these places, but he's looking for content to write more. So of course, this is his second novel. He had already written another book. But he straight says in the book, he wants to travel because he wants more life experience so that he has things to write about.
he's
Creativity.
experiencing life,
Mm.
and he knows he wants to be a writer. That's all he talks about in the thing.
Mhm.
And talking about connections,
Yeah.
connecting with people. And we have it so easy nowadays because I don't have personally a Facebook, but if you're on Facebook, you can connect with pretty much anybody
But
you
it's
want.
so superficial. So to take it a level
These
deeper,
are
right?
real
This
connections.
is real connection. So today,
Facebook is
I think
superficial,
I
I
think
think.
we take for granted, yeah, how easy it is. It feels like we're in constant contact because we can text each other all the time. We're having a bad day, some shit happens, we can get some feedback, constant. Like somebody is available all the time. But we don't have those intimate one-on-one in-person conversations. Like I don't care how connected you are to the world. Can you get raw with your soul in that kind of environment? Most people don't, and very few of us actually sit on the phone and hear these people's voices. You're just using that device as your connection instead of using your soul as your connection. So I feel like even though we are more connected, it's so superficial, it isn't real, it isn't deep anymore. I feel like that's one of the things I didn't even think about in this book, is that he is truly craving connection. He is looking for his old friends that are spread out across the country, and he is trying to connect deeply with them and with other people. And yeah,
meeting people on the way
mhm,
and really just living for that experience.
yeah,
It's kind of cool because we're trying to live that experience, a raw experience.
yeah,
I don't want to search Facebook and I don't want to do that. Like I want to go visit people and see them face to face.
yeah.
And I do want to go
And have
visit.
true intimate connections. That's one of the things that we've been craving through traveling. We keep talking about wanting to get to Idaho to see the baby, but that's because we are craving that soul connection with our family. And part of the reason that we started traveling even before we knew that they were pregnant with baby Marcus is because we miss all of our family and friends across the country. I mean, everybody's literally spread out, and it's like when there's an event, we take a 2-week vacation to go see them for this event, and it's super quick, fast, and in a hurry, and then we have to hurry up and get back home and get back to life, and it just doesn't feel like it's real enough. You never have the chance to have that deep connection. We want to get in there and help you with life. Like you're building a shed the weekend that we happen to be there. We want to help you build that shed, and we'll have a couple beers and we'll cook out and we'll just literally hang out like family, like we haven't been apart for all these years. That's what we want. We want to have the opportunity to have the deep, real connections when it's not just a big event, when everybody's hanging out and around a wedding, a funeral, unfortunately, whatever it is. We want it to be real.
Them kind of events are so tough, weddings and stuff, because there's so many people. It's usually just superficial talk. The weather.
Quick catch up. Yeah. What's going on in your life? Oh, that sounds cool. It's exciting that you're doing this. I saw that on Facebook. I don't want to live that way anymore. There's so many people all over this country that I care about so deeply that I just don't get to spend that one-on-one time with them. And I want to spend real life with people. I want to be there, like I said, help you build the shed that you got going on, or help cook dinner with your family on your busy weeknight. You come home and we've got dinner ready for you, and we can hang out and chat the rest of the evening until it's time to put your kids to bed. Play board games, like deep connection.
We went and visited our friends. I think it was probably 2 or 3 years ago. Well, more my friends. It was Kara's first time visiting Joe and Kristen, and
we didn't even tell them we were coming.
Yeah, I just show up at their house, knock on the door, but I didn't even think I knocked. I think I just walked in. But it doesn't matter. We go visit them, and we're hanging out. We're staying the night, and first thing in the morning, Kristen wakes us up, and she's like, "I need a big favor."
They had a babysitter issue.
They're like, "Can you babysit my grandbabies?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not doing nothing." So we ended up picking up a babysitting gig right out of the blue. It was awesome, fun.
And that's the things that, I mean, that's the why, right? That's really when you break down to it. Yes, we're wanderlust. Yes, we want to see all these different places and experience all these beautiful locations. and be able to bring our dogs with us, which is part of why we do it off grid. But it's the same. At the end of it, I didn't even realize we're kind of living out Jack Kerouac's legacy. He craved seeing these beautiful places and experiencing these locations that he's only read about or heard about. But really what it is he wants connection. He wants to be connected to the people of his that are spread out throughout the country and experience a bit of their life and their everyday experiences. And I think that's a really beautiful and powerful message, I think. And going for it. Like, don't let what other people's expectations are of you. Don't let what the society's expectations are of you, what people tell you is possible or isn't possible. Just do it. Whatever it is, you're going to figure it out along the way. It sounds scary. You don't have to have all of the answers right now, but you can. You can figure it out as you go. The perfect outcome or the perfect answer to your problem is going to present itself if you have an open mind and you are excited about what you're doing and you love it. It's going to figure itself out.
So the key points for me anyway is no internet, but still staying connected through a lot of letters and saving phone numbers in your little black book and just going out there and winging it and not really having a financial security net. He has no financial security net. He talks about being completely broke, asking people for dimes.
Mm-hmm.
And I know back there, dimes is probably like dollars today because he lived on the first part of his journey with eating apple or pie and ice cream. That's what he ate. Pie and ice cream. That's what he talked about eating.
He mentions multiple times he knows it's a nutritious meal.
Yeah, it's a nutritious meal. And that's what he's eating, traveling. And he literally just wanted to go out west, never been out there, and said, I'm going. And I don't care if I got to hitchhike, take the Greyhound. I'll take a Greyhound if I have to. If that's how I got to get to Yosemite, that's how I'm getting there. Because I'm going to Yosemite this year. Hopefully you guys read some of this book. It's pretty cool. And I'm enjoying reading the book. And maybe because I want to travel. So this is like, I'm imagining traveling.
Right up our alley, yeah.
So for me, it's like, wow, this is kind of what I want to do. Obviously, I'm hoping to do it in a camper, not hitchhiking. It's still a great book, and it's keeping me motivated to keep my dream alive to be able to travel and live on the road.
Welcome to our second on the road book club meeting. He's been engaged. He's almost done
reading the book, and I just still find it's so inspiring for what I want to do in my life, and which is travel, and how people back then just traveled and stayed connected. What's amazing is people just show up in each other's lives in a whim, and they're welcomed in with open arms. So the book has inspired me to really travel.
Well,
and get on the road and not be scared because I don't have enough money or enough resources, or I'm just paranoid because I like to worry about silly things.
And I think, based on what you just said, it's also inspired you to embrace your whirlwind nature.
Yeah.
You do have a tendency to want, when we do travel, to just show up and just be there. Again, I've always, that's definitely one of my, I don't ever want to be an impedance on people. I don't ever want to make them have to uplift their plans and change their life around me. But I feel like, especially those people that you really connect to, that love you no matter what. I do think that this is helping inspire and help me let go of that and help him embrace that whirlwind nature of his. There's one quote I do want to say because it touched my soul. I was like, this is it. So Sal has just gotten back to New York City after traveling all over the West. He went, in the first few chapters, he went to Chicago, down into Denver. He went to San Francisco, down to Los Angeles, back up and down the California coast for a little while before he finally shot back across the country via bus to get to Pittsburgh and then hitchhiked the rest of the way to New York City. And so he just got to New York City. He's in Times Square. He said he's right in the middle of rush hour 2, seeing with my innocent road eyes the absolute madness and fantastic Herrera of New York with its millions and millions of hustling forever for a buck among themselves, a mad dream, grabbing, taking, giving, sighing, dying, just so they can be buried in those awful cemetery cities beyond Long Island City. And I feel like that just speaks so much to what my soul really is screaming. I just don't believe that we're supposed to live this hustle and bustle until we die and not experience all the beauty that this life has to offer. And I hate being caught up in the grind, essentially, of trying to figure out how you're just going to basically survive and not able to experience all the beauty that life has to offer. And I'm not necessarily talking about traveling. I'm talking about anything from enjoying a delightful cup of coffee, savoring your meal, sex. I mean, everything that this world has to offer us, we are meant to experience every aspect of that. And I just feel like I can really see how this book has inspired so many people. I mean, again, we've been stopped by countless people over the years who have talked about how Jack Kerouac and On the Road in particular have inspired them. And I just feel like
A main author that we interviewed, The Word of Dog, he said this book
this book
changed his
inspired
life.
him to change his life. Absolutely.
Changed his major in college and just, it's crazy. So if you see two people with 3 dogs hitchhiking, pick us up. So just know the dogs will behave in the car.
They just lay down, yeah. No, it's really incredible. So it's a really, I think, we like to read self-help books, and this doesn't fall into that category, but I do think that it's doing an incredible job at inspiring us before we're taking this next leap. I mean, and it's really, the timing's kind of beautiful because we're about to come into a year of running our podcast. So I just feel like we have a whole lot of things that are lining up at the same time. And we're getting ready to start the next chapter, essentially, of our journey, of our traveling, of our lives. And
reading more books is going to be part of that.
Absolutely.
So stay tuned for that.
Absolutely.
And our book that we authored is coming out June, I think.
But
that'll be the book that we will concentrate on reading next, which is some amazing stories from amazing healers and just people.
Yeah.
Really, it's just crazy that we're involved in that book.
It's deeply inspiring. Every meeting we have, every chapter reading is just incredibly inspiring. You guys, this book is going to be incredible.
I can't believe how people traveled in the 1947, 48. I'm getting into 1949 now. But it's just, and how people stayed connected back then, and how people go months and months without seeing each other. And actually, years, they don't even talk. And then all of a sudden, Sal shows up at these places. First thing that they do is cook a big meal, and everybody gathers around the table, and they're eating bread and having a conversation about what they've done in the last couple of years. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And I love to do that. That's something that I've always done. So it's just amazing to me.
And I think the biggest battle in that, right, is getting over our self-conscious. Like, do they really want me around? Do they just tolerate me? Whatever your self-deprecating thoughts are. And I think it's getting over that.
Whatever your limiting beliefs are around people not wanting to see you, or you're imposing on yourself.
And that's something I really, truly struggle with.
Forget about Facebook and all social media. A lot of that stuff is just...
It's fake.
It's
pop-up. Fake. Let's be real. It's fake.
It's, people only put the good, but we were all struggling inside in some way, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting out of the book, and I am thrilled that I'm reading it. It's taken me a lifetime to read it. I'm 54 years old, and I should have read it when I was 20. So I'm happy to be reading it, and I hope everybody joins in.
So we are about halfway through now On the Road with Jack Kerouac, and it's a great book. Absolutely. We actually met a gentleman yesterday. James wore his Kerouacs Cruising shirt to an event. We're walking back to our car, and on the back of his shirt says Kerouacs Cruising. And gentleman asks about Jack Kerouac and On the Road, and if
he had read a bunch of Jack.
Yeah, he said he'd read most of his books. So it was kind of fun for sure, because we're in the middle of the book. It's really fun to learn and realize that we're kind of, living out his legacy a little bit.
Living life really on your own terms, because we're not super wealthy. We don't have a lot of money. We're doing it. We accumulate money, and then we go on trips. And when you read the Jack Kerouac On the Road book, that's pretty much what he's doing. He accumulates money, and then he goes on trips, and he's writing about it through his books. Basically, we are doing a podcast about it. Well, he's doing it through writing and his journey. I think it's kind of cool because that's the life he's living, his life experiences. Carolac's back. Still can't hear us.
Yeah, I can hear.
You can hear us.
Yes.
Oh, we can hear you.
Yes.
Perfect. So one of the things for those of you who may or may not have been reading yet or haven't gotten into it, and hopefully will get you into it, is his writing is very unique. It's very poetic. I think it's called jazz writing. And you had said the same thing, Caroline, as both of us had witnessed and discussed amongst ourselves. The first chapter is so difficult to get through. It's like
Yes.
mind bending. Then after that, it kind of has a beautiful flow, and I feel like it's remnant of like kind of I mean, at least my ADD brain, like how you think. Like he speaks how you would almost tell a story to like your best friend, like just whatever pops into your head comes out of your mouth, and that's how he seems to write it.
Agreed. No, I think the book flows good. The first chapter was weird, but the book has been flowing good, and I'm still enjoying it. I still feel the same thing. I like that people go years without seeing each other, and then he just pops back in. So one of the things, he meets up with a friend in New Orleans, I think, and the guy brings him to the horse track to go horse race betting. And it's pretty cool.
I thought it was what I thought was cool about it, and I felt like it was very reminiscent to the way that you are, is Sal. He has a vision. The horse's name is Old Pop, I think it was.
Something
and he
like
was like, it made him feel emotional. It reminded him of his father. And so he blurts it out to the gentleman that he's with, Old Bull. And Old Bull thinks about it for a moment and then goes ahead and does what he was originally planning on doing anyways. And this horse, Old Pop, ends up coming in 50 to 1. So he would have won, how much money, but it would have been.
Sal didn't have no money to gamble.
Yeah.
He was just with his friend that was gambling and told him to bet on this horse. And that's what you got to do. You just go on a feeling. And Sal obviously had the feeling. And his friend's like, nope, I'm going with the favorite or whatever. And lost because this horse came in the way.
Yeah.
He traveled from New York City to San Francisco on $20.
Yes, but they did a lot of pillaging, stealing gas, stealing food along the way, but they're making it. Yeah.
Cara's going to get good at stealing food when we're on the road.
That's his threat every time we're low on money.
We got to get moving somehow. Hey, thanks for joining Kerouacs Cruising, James and Cara, for our book club meeting, Sunday, 10 a.m. And we're still talking about Jack Kerouac. We're getting to the end, one more week. And the book's kind of planing out.
Almost flattening out, yeah.
Because they just keep doing the same road trip and the same people. But it's interesting. They're still talking about, they're at one point in the book, there's 2 people in the front seat. And I'll mention that, and I don't think they do it anymore. What's it called? The Bureau of Car?
Travel Bureau.
Travel Bureau. And you can get a car, and it's people that are looking to do shared gas to go across the country. So Dean and Sal are together in the car, and the kids in the front are talking about planning their life and how much money they have and doing all the steps. And Dean and Sal are just saying, they're
just winging it, yeah.
Life just goes the way it's going to go. No matter what they do, it's going to be the same thing. The outcome's the same. So that's kind of the way what we're leaning toward in our life. What you dream up is the reality, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you think?
I agree. One of the things that I do find interesting is you keep seeing the same theme where Dean's doing Dean, right? He's kind of crazy. He's sporadic. He's all over the place, kind of inspiring Sal in the way that he, Sal just like kind of craves being around his energy and really admires it. And everybody else in Dean's life essentially like hate him and they're mad at him for being the way that he is and for not settling down and this, that, and the other thing.
He has kids and stuff and he just keeps going on road trips, stealing
everybody
cars.
Who keeps getting involved with Dean knows that Dean's this way, and then they're getting mad at him for being who he is. So it's a really interesting, I feel almost conflicted because it's like, I'm mad at Dean for leaving his wife and his son. Ooh, who do we have joining us? Caroline, hi.
We were just talking how Dean and Sal were going cross country, and in the book's kind of planing out, they just keep doing the same road trip, and Dean keeps acting the same way. just crazy, stealing cars, and the book's kind of just repeating it.
Yeah.
That's what we were just talking about. And Cara was just saying
Yep.
something.
Yeah, so it's an interesting conflict because you almost want to be mad at Dean, right, for being kind of a,
Leaving his family behind.
Idiot.
yeah,
Just go travel.
but everybody keeps
Right.
getting mad at him for being who he is. Like everybody who's getting involved with Dean knows that Dean's this way, and then they're mad at him for being who he is. For not changing because they want him to change. So it's an interesting conflict because you want Dean to be a better person, but Dean hasn't changed from the beginning of the book, from when Sal talked about him when they used to write letters. It doesn't seem like Dean is any different of a person than he's ever been. So it's a really interesting conflict almost.
And Sal's like magnet to him because he likes the thrill of the excitement, the travel thrill, and all that.
Yeah. I mean, you figure it sounds like he's kind of being irresponsible, but really what his goal is, right, is to gain life experiences that are unique so
Right.
that it inspires him to write, which is exactly what he did.
That's what he's doing. He's traveling, writing. So he's doing really what he wanted us to do.
Mhm.
And that's to be a writer. So that's great. Because you picked up on that. We didn't even talk about that.
Yeah.
He's fulfilling his dream, writing. And really, Dean's the excitement. It's exciting because he's got somebody that's crazy, stealing cars and stealing gas and stealing groceries. That's how we're living.
Without the stealing part.
With the stealing part. Cara's going in. I'll be the driver. We're going to need money, to travel.
One of the things that just crossed my mind is at one point, Sal was talking about how him and Dean were chatting in the back seat, and Sal had talked more than he had ever talked in his life. So you feel like because somebody's speaking from their perspective, they are just talking about what they are witnessing instead of what they're doing. But in fact, it seems like Sal really isn't he's just along for the ride, really.
Yeah, he's a note taker.
Yeah.
He's along for the ride taking notes. And I think Dean pushes him to travel, really. That's what I
think. Yeah, I think he craves Dean's energy.
Yeah. Hi. Welcome to
Grand finale.
the Kerouacs Cruising, James and Cara. Our first book we finished for the book club. Not the first book we finished, but for our book club. We finished Jack Kerouac, and I just finished it this morning.
Ditto.
Really, it's been a busy, hectic week, so I just didn't have time to read too much. So between yesterday and today, I read 60 pages. So it was great. I enjoyed the book fully. One of the things I don't understand reading the last couple chapters is why the United States developed far more than Mexico. I really just don't understand that, because they go to Mexico at the end of the book, and it's kind of crazy because the development of Mexico is so far behind. And this is 1950s, and they're talking about driving in these places are just undeveloped. And they were driving to Mexico City, and even when they get to Mexico City, it's so far undeveloped compared to what the United States was. And the United States is so much newer. So that was kind of weird to me.
Well, one of the things that, when you look at culturally, historically, the US was more developed by Europe in general, and Mexico was left more towards its indigenous and native cultures for a much longer amount of time. He even describes in a book, Mexico is just one bohemian community. And I personally think it's beautiful because I think that's the turning point for America, where we went from living to live to living to produce. And it really, that time frame, I feel like, I believe that America almost went in the wrong direction, in that now everybody is just trying to work as much as they can and trying to produce as much as they can. And you're not valuable unless you're making money. Whereas back then, Mexico was still, you're just living to survive and you're living from day to day. And we look at it as very poor and rural and rustic and, not as a good thing. But I think it was, because you were able to be more connected to your family and to your community and to doing the things.
Well, they definitely had community, and they definitely didn't rely. They relied on each other. They weren't trying to, make tons of money. It was just interesting to me because when I was like, It's so weird. But the adventures they went on, are moving to me. I want to go on adventures. And it still goes back for me is they didn't really care if they had money or gas or a car that even would make it. They just left. And reading the book, it was funny. At one point, their lights go out and they're like, who cares? And they're in the middle of Mexico in the jungle and they're getting eaten alive by mosquitoes and really can't drive. So it was just crazy how people lived back then. I think it's just awesome. Really.
Yeah.
They just didn't have too many worries. And I think at the end, his friend Dean is just a nutball.
Well, it was really interesting, right? Because Sal is, really sick in Mexico. And Dean ends up being like, I got to get back to my future wife now that I've got this divorce cleared. Just leave Sal sick, possibly could be dying in a foreign country, and goes back home and, goes and marries his new wife, which he then promptly leaves to go back to his old wife. And then Dean at the end, it's almost like brings a tear to your eye, the guilt that Sal feels leaving Dean in New York after Dean just came all the way across the country to see him, spends a couple of days, and now is turning around and going back. And it's really interesting to see the polarity between the two of them, because Dean clearly had no guilt leaving Sal in Mexico sick and dying potentially.
That was kind of weird.
And then Sal and his new girlfriend, on the other hand, are very emotional about leaving Dean on the corner there in New York, which is a place that he has a wife, he has a home. Like, it's very, very strange to see the dynamic and the polarity, and it really makes you question
it just shows that they did truly have a bond.
At least Sal did.
Dean came across country to drive him back to pick out the truck.
Yeah.
And Sal didn't have no money.
Yeah.
So they couldn't do it. But, and I was happy that Sal was like, hey, we're going to this concert.
Yeah.
And, you can't come with us.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know. It's interesting.
It is.
The whole book was interesting. I want to read a little more. I know it's not going to be the next book we read, but I'm going to definitely keep reading Jack Kerouac stuff. Maybe we might not do it in the book club, but I'm going to definitely read the next book. When we interviewed the author from The Word of Dog, Mark Rollins, he was saying Jack Kerouac changed his life.
He went from engineering to philosophy.
He
changed his
view on philosophy. And I thought the book was going to be more about philosophy. So
it kind of is.
It is a little bit. And it did get that way toward the end. But I'm thinking the next books are probably more about philosophy.
Maybe. He said it was the mention of Nietzsche in this book. The multiple mentions of Nietzsche made him start reading Nietzsche. And that totally changed his trajectory of his life, or at least as far as he saw it, where it was going to go at the time. One of the other things that kind of struck me in this book is how prominent it was that men were objectifying girls, like females under the age of 18 years old.
No, they went to Mexico and they go to a whorehouse and whatever. Not only did they pay the cops off, and they gave the bartender money and the pimp, and then gave the girls money, but the girls were 15 to 18 years old.
Yeah.
And Sal, Dean, and Stan were all over. They graduated college. So they're like 24 and sleeping with,
in their 20s, you could say, because Sal is 5 years older than Dean, is what you know. But yeah, and Sal did say the gal that he was with was in her 30s or was 30. But it's like, even just out in their journeys when they go and stop places, the way like Sal has to hold Dean back from these young girls, and I just can't even believe that it's like that prominent, and it's amazing, and I'm grateful for how far we've come, but it makes me wonder how much actually goes on behind the scenes that just aren't discussed. Like, is that still something that's super prominent that really just, it's shameful, so it's not talked about? It's an interesting and unfortunate ugly, dark side of, I feel like the American culture, society, yeah, where young women, young girls get objectified. I remember walking down the street with my girlfriends, and of course you're young and you're just starting to have hormones and all that, and you want to feel confident, and you're exploring the world of your own sexuality. So you're dressed in short shorts and tight shirts and whatever, but you're getting honked at and hoot and hollered by people who are driving down the road. And it's like, we're 13, 14, and like that's not okay. Like, and it's at the time, at that age, we're like, oh yeah, we're hot, but they're adults doing that, and so it's,
And that's what Dean was doing.
yeah, that's exactly it. And it's,
They had to learn it from somewhere.
exactly. And I don't think that it stopped in the 1940s and 50s, unfortunately, is I guess the point that I'm saying, that it seems like we've grown superficially in so many ways, but I feel like it's just kind of a mask put over. We don't want to look at the ugly side of our culture that is still there. I feel like in a lot of ways it has grown and changed because there is a big conversation about it, but I don't feel like it's gone. And I think that the conversation needs to continue. And I think it's a beautiful way for us to heal and evolve as a culture and as a society to continue to talk about it.
Well, I like this book. I'm eager to travel. So it did relieve pressure of traveling because, Cara, we got a cardboard sign for her to hold up for gas money. And we just figured out that guys definitely want to throw money at women. So we can get across the country.
Speaking of objectifying. So a little bit of housekeeping stuff. So our book release got delayed. If you hadn't caught some of the notes that I've put into the group, June 24th. So June 29th, we're going to do our first and our next, because we're not going to do a book club meeting for a few weeks now. We're going to wait for Together We Rise to come out.
And we're super busy because we're buying the camper.
Yeah, we got the camper. We're
getting ready to
James's
leave.
Treatments, all that stuff. So it's a great pause for us. It will actually be either just getting to Idaho. Oh, we should be in Idaho that day, right?
We'll be in Idaho.
Yeah, we will be in
at
Idaho.
Brian's house, but we'll be in Idaho.
So we'll be in Idaho June 29th. So we will have already, we'll be in a new location, camping. And we're going to discuss our experience because we want to give time for everybody to get the book. So our next book club meeting, June 29th, we're not going to have a set of chapters that should be read. So we're just going to discuss our experience writing the book. Maybe some of our authors will join us and we'll all kind of get to talk and chat about it together, which would be really, really cool. So those of you who are part of the group, we'd love to chat with you. I think we're going to move. We got to play with this a little bit. We might move our meetings from this studio to Zoom just because we've been having issues. If you've been watching past meetings, Caroline is not showing up. We don't know if that's her internet issue or the studio issue. So we got to sort that out. We might be moving things to Zoom. So all of that information will come as we get closer. You got anything you want to add?
I don't think so.
All right.
Read a book.
Read a book. A book a month. All right, you guys. Thanks for tuning in. We love you. Thank you so much. And we'd love to hear from you. You got any comments, questions, anything you want to add? Otherwise, we will see you soon.
Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Kerouacs Cruising.
We're thrilled to have you with us.
We had a blast recording this episode and hope you enjoyed our adventures as much as we enjoyed sharing them.
For more amazing pictures and stories, visit our website and blog at kerouacscruising.com.
And join the conversation on Facebook at Kerouacs Cruising or email us at join@kerouacscruising.com.
We'd love to hear your thoughts and suggestions.
If you enjoyed this episode, please consider liking, subscribing, and leaving us a review.
Your support helps us reach more listeners and allows us to continue sharing our travel experiences with you.
It's a generous favor that means the world to us.
Thank you so much for listening to Kerouacs Cruising.
Until next time, happy travels.